Hey guys, and welcome to another blog spotlight. In this spotlight I'm going to take a look at the Bioreactor and the Biogenerator blocks from the MineFactory Reloaded mod. Now, well, first of all, you might have noticed, maybe if you have watched some of my other spotlights, that all of the MineFactory Reloaded machines, such as the harvester here, can use several types of power, including Minecraft tools and Industrial Craft EUs. Minecraft tools, of course, being the power used by Buildcraft. Now, well, this mod also works standalone. So how does it do it? Where does it get its power? Well, it does so using the Biofuel Generator. Now, what this does is basically it generates Minecraft tools, so the power introduced by Buildcraft. And how it does it is what I'm going to explain now. So first off, let's have a look at the crafting recipes of this block. So the bioreactor takes some plastic sheets, some sugar, a fermented spider eye, some slime balls, and a factory machine block. The factory machine block is made using some stone and some plastic sheets, and you need blocks for every MineFactory Reload machine, so make a couple of these. And of course the plastic sheets are made using raw plastic, which can be obtained from smelting rubber bars or rubber from any other mod. And then finally we also have the Biofuel Generator, which is created using some plastic sheets, some pistons, a furnace, some blaze rods, and of course the factory machine block. Alright, so let's see what these blocks do. So I've built a little setup here next to my setup for the spotlight about the harvester and such, which I did earlier. And yeah, so basically you have to input some biomatter. In this case I've got seeds which are generated by this farm here, and you have to input them into the bioreactor. Now this machine does not need any power to operate, so that's very nice. And well, currently I've got a redstone signal going into it to prevent it from operating, but when we turn that off, you will see biofuel flowing through this liquid duct here, which is being generated by the bioreactor. Now, this generation happens pretty fast, but do keep in mind that the buffer does empty at a fairly slow pace. So, well, the internal biofuel buffer of the bioreactor, that is. So it does take a while for the biofuel to flow out of it. In this case, I'm having it flow into the biofuel generator, which we're getting to in a minute. So the bioreactor has another property, which is that it can process multiple types of items at the same time. Now currently I just use the seeds, so some regular seeds, but you can also use pumpkin seeds, melon seeds, also every type of dye. So for example, bone meal can be used, but also for example cyan dye. And when we place these in the bioreactor's inventory here, you will see the efficiency meter here go up. So basically normally I believe it generates 80 milli buckets of biofuel for each item it processes. And well, now I've got two different items and now it will produce 180. So that's quite a bit more. So essentially you have 160 for each item, well, combined of course, and then 20 added due to the efficiency. So this basically means if you have different types of items in here, the efficiency of how much fuel you generate will increase. So it's very good if you have different types in here, so you get a lot more biofuel than you would without them. So let's throw some more in here, maybe get some other things. So some dandelion yellow, and well, yellow dye, I think that should probably also work. No, yellow dye does not. Okay, so yellow dye is a dye added by another mod, so that does not work. But for example, rose red, so basically all of the dyes you can get from natural products such as bones or flowers or anything. Cactus green should of course also work. Sorry, cactus green. Here we are. Now do keep in mind, for example, apples will not work. So we throw those in there. They will not be accepted. Same goes for wheat and some other things. So you might want to take a look. I'm not sure about saplings. Yeah, saplings also work, so that's quite nice. So yeah, there's some things you can use and some things you can't use. In these you'll have to have a look at the items you try in there. But essentially now we have the maximum efficiency, which is 144. Sorry, 1440. So yeah, that's the maximum efficiency. If we turn this on now, it will generate fuel very fast. Also keep in mind, you really want to switch this off before you put in multiple items, because it processes items very fast when its buffer is not full yet. So when it's running with the buffer being not full yet, it will process items very fast, and you will lose a lot of items before you can actually get the bonus of having multiple items in there. So really turn this off before you start stacking items in there the first time. When of course you'll notice the buffer is not filling up at the moment. That's because it will wait until enough space is free in the buffer to process one of each item at a time. So now we've got this biofuel flowing out of the bioreactor into our biofuel generator. Now this also has an internal buffer, as you can see, but well, this is not very fast, seeing as I mentioned earlier, the fuel does not flow out of the bioreactor that fast, so it does take a while. And when well, sometimes depending on your combination of mods and configurations, this will actually produce forestry ethanol, or biofuel as it was called in the past. So it would be the orange liquid, but they are interchangeable, so you can use either one in the biofuel generator as well. So the biofuel generator, as I mentioned, is the block which generates power in the MineFactory Reloaded mod, and in this case it generates Buildcraft, Buildcraft power, which are the Minecraft tools. And I've currently got it turned off by sending a redstone signal into it, but when we turn this on, you will see it's starting to produce packets of Minecraft tools, and the biofuel, well, is still increasing, seeing as we are still producing it. So if you have a steady flow of biofuel coming in from a bioreactor, you won't have to worry about this running out anytime soon. And it's producing a nice amount of packets. I think, if I'm seeing that correctly, it's 160 Minecraft tools at a time. So my redstone energy cell is slowly recharging here. So that's basically how these two blocks work, what they do, and why they are useful in this mod. Of course, do keep in mind that I think the combustion engine from Buildcraft is more efficient in producing power based on biofuel, so you will probably want to use that. Of course you will, well, it can explode, seeing, well, when you when you do not provide it with water. So that's the turn down of the Buildcraft engine. In this case you only need to produce biofuel, have biofuel in there to produce Minecraft tools, which is not the case for the combustion engine. So you might want to weigh your options there, but in the standalone mod this is the only viable option to generate power, but it's a very useful one. So yeah, that concludes these blocks. I hope you enjoyed this spotlight. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.